What's up guys, Jack here with Devoted Trading, and in this video I'm going to show you guys some updates I've made to the sequential SMT indicator and talk a little bit about the algo time indicator that I got. So if you like this type of content, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So I have a sequential SMT indicator. I think it's the best one out there, and I made some pretty massive updates with actually adding alerts to it. So now you can choose which alerts you actually want to put on there. Once you update, either if you've already got this, you update the indicator, or purchase the indicator, or try it out. Make sure you go to your alerts. I think it's Controller Alt A or Option. I'm sorry, or Option A. Oh yeah, it's not in replay mode, but get out of replay mode. Let me show you how to do that. I think I've already got it here, but Option A, you get to remote Option or Control A, I think, and you want to go to Condition. You want to choose the indicator there, and then just leave all that the same as chart, and then create. And once that's live on replay mode, it won't work on replay mode, but the alerts will happen once it happens, depending on how you choose to have your alerts set up. So let me just get back to replay mode here, just to kind of show you guys how it works. So yeah, so this tracks everything down from the 3 month, uh, 3 month all the way down to the nanocycle. And so the way that I have it set up, I'll just talk about the SMT for now. I won't go into then I'll go into the IFGs, the first presented IFGs and inversions after that. But first, the way I have it set up with the indicator is that I have my cycle boundary overlap as 0. Just keep it there because that'll give you the most accurate, especially when we get down to the nanocycles. You want to leave it at 0. And then I have my lines, my indicator line, just whichever we want to choose those. My anchor mode, I just have as diagonal instead of just having like a horizontal line. Vertical off tick, that's the label. So depending on where you have the label, these are nanos, which you'll see later. And then for my hidden SMT, I have that as dash if I want to see that. And then if I want to see both, I can put it on both, or just see hidden SMT, I could do that. But typically, I just leave it as I'll leave it as both for now, just so you can see what that looks like. But the both the you can have a line color for your hidden SMT, but I just choose to have it as turn it in transparent because I don't like to see a bunch of labels on there, so I just leave it as transparent. And then going down to the actual SMTs, you can choose how to do this however you want. But for me, I like to have a little more weight on my higher time frame SMT. So have a dash line with a weight of 3, label color that, and I want to see the first presented FVG and IFVG on all of my time frames. So the quarterly, the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and then once I get down to the daily and 6 hour, I just go for a solid line, with the 2. Um, and then I like to have my label positions at the end, because if I'm on like a 1 minute lower time frame and a daily pops up, I'll see the label pop up here. Um, so anyways, just want to go over that real quick. And then when I get down to some of my nanos, you can just copy and paste all this if you want. 90-minute quarter, the 22.5-minute quarter, and then the nano quarters, I actually don't have a label. My label I just put down as 0 opacity. And then with my line, I have it as dotted. That way I know any dotted line is a nanocycle. So these are nanocycle SMTs. So let's play it out, and we'll plan it out. And there's a nano SMT, say displacement, and we should see, here we go. So as it's playing out, that's why sometimes I don't like to have both SMTs on there, the nano and the body, but you can see that as this nano SMT that confirms the BISI that's forming here, it'll form that BISI, and then you can see in real time as it detects the inversion, it'll plot that as well. And so there, looks like we're going up here, and we're hitting this previous SMT 1 minute BISI up here, so it's probably the draw. It'll probably draw up to there. Let's see here. I'm not looking at higher time frame right now, so yeah, there's a draw. Boom. So that's how that works. And then there's another, you know, SMT. So once the SMT is swept and there's it's no longer valid, it'll take it off and then reach up to the next one. So all right, I have a bunch of other things on here. Let me get rid of the time. So that's how that works. Digging into the IFEG and the FEG settings, I've got, you can either, let's see here. So you can choose the colors of your FEGs and your IFEG lines. I like to look back. So the way that it works, the IFGs only plot when a SMT's, the second leg of the SMT is detected. And so I have it as like a 12, because sometimes if I want to hunt back 12 bars, so I can leave it at like 9 bars if I want, or even 3 bars if you want to catch just, let's see, let's look at an active one here. Let's go back over here. Um, so how many bars back is this? This is 1, 2, so 2 bars. Should, looks like it's not catching this, but I may have to work out a couple bugs here to make sure it catches this here. But let's see, back 3. Let's go back to this, because oh yeah, it erases after, because it's not a relevant relevant time frame of the SSMT anymore. Let's see if it catches it now. So once we display slower, it's catching it. Yeah, see, it's catching it now. It's just because we were too far into time. So it'll leave, should show, oh, because the reason why it's not catching this big one here is because it's already caught the nano SMTs here, these nano SMTs, and catching some of those. So it'll just catch the most recent ones. So if you want to catch the more, if you want to leave those on, there's a max active. So that's called the one that's actually active and working right now. That's an active SMT. So if I want to have it as like 3, then it should leave up a couple more inversions after the SMT. And then the passive FPGA, so now it's leaving, it's kind of catching these ones here. Um, I think it's catching this SMT, so I gotta fix that. Anyway, so but it's catching these little nano SMTs, little mini gaps here. It's catching some of these, so that's why I typically like to leave this just as the active, just as 1 or as 0, and that'll just leave the latest inversion there to keep my chart pretty clean, and then the max previous inversions, I just leave it as, maybe 2 or 3, and then after 3 or 4, it'll delete off the chart. So that's how that works. And then you can, of course, go and just adjust however you want to make those adjustments. You can even not show any of those IVGs and inversions if you want on each time frame. But I personally like just to leave it on. It's a nice little compliment for me. And yeah, that's how that works. And then the other update I have is for the GB time, GB Algo Time indicator. So I did at one point create the go back levels that go on the right of the indicator, but because Hope Laka has decided to release his go back indicator for free, I've decided to take that off. Plus, I want people to really learn from him. He's a great mentor, and so anyways, so you just gotta I didn't need to combine them together, but basically now this indicator has a, let me move this to the bottom right. This has a kind of an engine where it'll show the macro cycle, meaning that the larger cycle, if we're bearish or bullish. And it's not always exactly correct like any indicator, but right now, currently showing it's bearish, obviously, with this SMT as well. So it's pretty accurate. And then it'll show you if there's they call it a macro trap, like basically a retracement. There's a potential retracement, bullish retracement. So if you look for longs, it's going to be a macro trap, like sorry, a micro trap, meaning like a lower time frame trap, just a retracement in order to go lower. So is the last node, and then it'll say the next node that's coming up. It should highlight here. So if I press play, see the last node, it'll track the last node, and then it'll kind of flip around. I'm working on another version right now that'll actually tell you the next node to look out for, and it'll lock on to one particular path, and then walk you down which path it's going down. So keep a lookout for that. But this is what it's looking like right now. I think it's working pretty well. I like to keep my eye on the macro trend just to kind of see if it's in line with my current bias. And of course, this is currently working, and it's saying it's targeting 0, 0, 0, that node. And I mean, if we look back, let's see here if we can find a 0, 0. Let's see, where's the 0, 0 node? I mean, it's either going to track one down here or it's going to print the 0, 0. So meaning like the low might hit, what time is it now? Yeah, might hit in the next hour. So let's see, play it out. See if it hits the 0, 0. So it's a 37. Okay, bullish being swept. Let's see here. Then it goes back on the bearish train. And here's the end node here. So that might be the end of the sweep. Oh, we swept it right here. We swept this end node. So this particular indicator now, I should show sweeps. So I've included sweeps of if you want to have a sweep color. I've taken off the CSD lines. I thought those were a little confusing. So I took those off just because you could use CSD as inversion. There's so many ways you could enter and see a change in state of delivery. So I just decided to take those off altogether. But now you can see sweeps of previous nodes. So for this example, this 2935, once it's wet, it turns gray, and then you'll see the sweep line here. Play it out, and that was probably the end of that particular algo path, right? So it went from 37 all the way down to 29. The algo path is ended. Now we got a different algo path potentially beginning to retrace that. Let's see. Play it out. Yeah, so we're gonna retrace up with the new algo path. So like I said, this isn't always like spot on. I'm still working on getting it dialed in to really follow, if it's looking for bullish or bearish. But obviously, indicators are indicators, so you shouldn't rely on that. Rely on the higher time frame narrative and your go back levels to see really where price is drawing towards. So, anyways, just want to call it there. Give you guys a quick update on the indicators. The biggest one was the alerts for the SMT, so I'm super stoked about that. And then making sure that you guys have your settings correct for the boundary overlap bars and the other settings on your on this SSMT indicator. But yeah, that's it for now. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, like and subscribe, hit me up on Discord, and hope you guys are having a happy Friday, happy Good Friday. Jesus is risen. Let's go. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the charts on Monday. Peace.